The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Reaper Apparel Company. Reaper Apparel offers a casual line of superb fit, finish, and comfort. We design for those who refuse to die slowly and choose to live untamed. For those who aren't afraid to face the dark, for the ones that thrive in it, and for those who can appreciate life through a grim lens. That's Reaper Apparel Company. Go to the link in the description of this episode, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my own personal merch store, the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. I have hats, I have t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, water bottles, notebooks, you name it, I've got it. The description and the link for that will be in the description of this episode. Also, right now, if you use the promo code WELCOME, I will give you 5% off of your first purchase. That's the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Tactical Brotherhood, all American-made apparel, which helps support the Second Amendment. You can also find all this in the description of this episode with the link, Tactical Brotherhood. Part of every proceed does go to helping veterans, as it is a very good cause. All American-made products made right here in Minnesota. Go and check them out. Use the promo code PATRIOT15 to get 15% off your purchase. Now, let's start the show. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. This is, as always, your host, Mike Bono. I have a great guest for us today, but first and foremost, everyone, please go and check out one of our brand new sponsors in Buddy's Beard Care. Beard oils, beard washes, beard balms, everything you need to keep your beard looking great, full, and healthy. They have sent me some complimentary products to try out, the face wash, and of course, my dog has to chew her chewy in the middle of my promo read. Beard washes, beard balms, and beard oils. My beard has never felt thicker. It has never felt healthier. And according to my wife, it has never felt softer. Go to buddysbeardcare.com. Check them out. Tell them Mike Bono sent you. It's Buddy's Beard Care, where size does matter. That being said, my guest today is a coach at Fort Cherry in the junior high and the high school in PA. We will get into a little bit of that, but Austin Fitch joins the show. Austin, thanks for joining, man.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here.
Hey, first and foremost, thanks for being on again, but you recently just went to Vegas. I've never been to Vegas personally, so how was that, and was this your first time there, or what did you do?
It was my first time, yeah, and me and my wife, we had a great time. We went over New Year's, so it was pretty neat. Like, they shut down the whole strip, and you can walk right on the street, and it was a pretty neat little experience to have all the hotels shooting off fireworks off the roofs, and plus had a lot of fun partying and gambling. And
biggest question I got for you, did you come back into the positive or the negative from being
definitely the negative. We won pretty well the one night, but we spent it all the next. So,
well, at least you were playing with house money that next day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That's always the important part of it when you go to any casino anywhere, but especially Vegas. So, what are your thoughts on Vegas having all these pro sports teams now?
I think it's pretty neat. It's there's a lot of people for the bigger venues. We actually got to see the Legion Stadium. We kind of drove past it. It's a beautiful, beautiful stadium. They got the Vegas Knights out there now too. Pretty decent hockey team. I didn't get to see where they're playing at, but pretty neat with all the people around. You know, get to go to the games and everything.
Oh, I haven't physically seen Vegas Knights Stadium, but I've seen pictures of it. It looks like a gorgeous stadium.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's only going to get better being last year's Stanley Cup winners. You know what I mean? That can only help out. But when you were visiting there, when you were going to like the casinos and stuff, do you think people were even thinking about sports out there, or are they more just let's get to the casino and let's try to
I believe it's kind of like a mixture because the Super Bowl is being hosted there this year.
Yes.
So there was a lot of Super Bowl athletic wear and stuff like that, clothing and stuff. It was just everywhere. In every gift shop you walk in, there was Super Bowl stuff there. And I would say it's kind of a 50-50 mixture. You saw a couple people walking around on Sundays with their jerseys on, but it wasn't too crazy.
Say, have they accepted the Raiders yet coming from Oakland to Vegas now?
Seems like it. There's a lot of jerseys there. So
okay. I know a lot of people. I'm not a Raiders fan, but I was upset when they moved the team from Oakland because it's always been the Oakland Raiders. You know what I mean? So that really, as a sports fan, really hits you where you don't think you care about a team, and it's like, oh, well, I guess that I kind of care because now they're moving from Oakland. And I still can't call them the Vegas Raiders. I still screw it up every time.
It's the same thing with the Rams as well. The St. Louis Rams, man. It's the same thing.
I've had people on here correct me. I was like, and the St. Louis Rams are like Los Angeles. I was like, yeah, you're right. They're always going to be the St. Louis Rams. And the same thing with the Commanders and changing the name and everything like that. We won't say it on here because, everyone, we don't want to get anyone's in their feelings or anything like that. But but you are a coach, like I said, at, Fort Cherry High School. This past season, the 2023 season, your team ended up as the state runner-up. Can you talk to us about, your coaching background and, what that was like going to the state finals?
Yeah, so I've been coaching for 4 years now for the junior high and also helping out with the high school. It was pretty neat to see some of the kids that I coached, kind of they're juniors now, and we went three years on a undefeated streak. Okay. And it's for junior high. I mean, it's pretty neat to do. But it's been pretty neat to see the kids grow up and get better with the sport and, grow up as adults, and mature. But it's been awesome to be a part of the program, and it's awesome. I mean, it was awesome to get the state semifinals. I mean, we got to play the Whitfield Championship at Heinz Field, or Acrisure, I guess.
Again, name changes. Yeah, it's always Heinz Field. It's
it's pretty. It was pretty awesome to be a part of that.
So, is this the only place you've coached?
Yes, it is the only place I've coached. Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of got your start there at Fort Cherry, and continuing on. Well, obviously you're doing something right with undefeated seasons. That's obviously you're doing the right things there. So can you walk us through your season and the games that stand out to you?
Well, this year for the junior high, our first game of the year actually was my first loss as a coach. So that one kind of stands out the most because we lost on a last second play. It was a tied game. I think it was 22-22 or something like that. And the kid just threw a great pass, and it was over a first year kid that never played football. He was an 8th grader. And I couldn't be mad because it was a perfect pass, and everything just lined up for them. I mean, so it was one of the ones that stood out this year. We lost another game towards the end of the season. It was they were a very good team.
Right. I've been on a bunch of those teams, especially growing up in junior high and high school. And, my high school went 5-5 every year from my freshman year all the way up to my senior year. We went 6-4 and kind of snuck into the playoffs. And that was kind of a big deal to us. And then we went down to, Martinsburg, West Virginia, and we ended up losing 45-7. I'll say we did better because it was 45-0 at halftime. So, the second half, our defense really kind of decided to play, but it was just a well-coached team. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was one of those teams that it's like, we're supposed to lose this game. Like, there's no doubt about it that we were not prepared like they were.
And that's when it came down to for our varsity for the state championship game. I mean, these kids were huge. I mean, their quarterback was going to Navy. They had 2 D1 defensive ends, and we're a small little school, farm town. We ain't got much, but luckily we have a great quarterback. I'm sure you probably, if you follow any Pennsylvania news for sports, Matthew Sieg. Yeah. He is just everywhere now. A couple D1 offers for Pitt, Penn State, Nebraska, Syracuse. So he's definitely been the driving force of the team.
Absolutely. And I get it right now. We're in a little small town here in Ohio, in Philo, Ohio, where my son plays football at the high school. And I mean, it's considered a village because there's a town of 500 people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's that little country, strong farm town, and it's great. But you get these farm boys, and we don't get a lot of speed on the team. But your team won 15 games in a row before you lost in the state finals. What was the preparation like for the state finals?
It's just we grinded every day. They actually had to go out and rent work site lights because our practice field didn't have any lights on them.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean it's a small school, man. It's but yeah, they worked their butts off to get there, and it was same as every week, really. I mean, I hate to say that, but it was just focused, locked in, and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, do you got a lot of returning players coming back for next season?
Yes and no. We're losing, I think, 3 of our starting linemen, a starting running back, a couple DBs, but I think that the fill-ins behind them are going to be just as good. So I think it's going to be a few years of pretty good success with this team.
Okay. So is that kind of your guys' expectation for the 2024 season to go? And, is that the head coach's expectations and everything like that?
Yeah. Keep going. And a fun fact about it is this is actually the first season that Fort Cherry actually won 10 games. They've been undefeated before, but it was way back whenever they only had 9 games a season. So I think that was back in the late middle 90s or something like that. So it's been a while for an undefeated season.
Okay. Well, I'll be pulling for you guys for sure. Yeah. Fort Cherry has quite the distinctive history in football. I mean, the school has had some legendary football players and coaches, like former NFL head coaches. Marvin Lewis comes to mind, who coached the Bengals, and Marty Schottenheimer, who coached the Browns, Chiefs, Redskins, or Commanders now, and the Chargers, along with, legendary Westminster football coach Brad Tucker, who considered one of the greats, if not the greatest athlete at Westminster College ever, and also the legendary Whippeal running back Mike Vrainel, who played for WVU, my Mountaineers, and Slippery Rock. So what is it like knowing legends who are alumni of your school that you coach at?
So it's actually a pretty awesome thing to have. I mean, you can't say that about many single A schools, in most areas, of having NFL coaches come out of them, So it's pretty neat to be not only following in kind of those footsteps in a way, but also some of them actually show up to some of these games. Like Brad Tokar came to a few of these games. Mike Vranola came to a few of these games, and it's neat to see some of these very, well-known people come back and support the community and the as alumni.
Does that get the kids riled up when they see, guys like that coming to the games, and what does that kind of do for the team morale and especially on game day and seeing that?
I definitely think that helps a lot. I mean, I would say it helps out somewhat. More so for the coaches, I would say, because the kids probably don't know who half these people are.
Yeah,
but the coaches, like as our head coach Tanner Gary, he actually graduated from Fort Cherry, and his dad was a coach and everything. So it's pretty neat to see that whole progression now of because this field is actually named after his grandfather as well. So it's kind of like a lineage kind of thing there. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I got you, and I definitely understand that the kids aren't knowing those players and athletes. I had a conversation with my son, and I can't even remember who it was that I mentioned, but it was a very well-known professional athlete. He was like, "Who?" I was like, "I'm going to need you to just go away from me for like 10 minutes. Like, I need some time. I failed you as a father. You don't know who I'm talking about. Yeah. So, I get it. I think it's something like, do you guys try to bring that history up to the kids to like let them know, like, hey, I know you think we're a small town school, but people from this school have went to the NFL and all the D1 colleges.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a kind of a motivator in a way. The kid, like I said, the kids kind of thrive off of it a little bit, but like I said, it's more so the coaches,
Yeah, absolutely. So, besides coaching, so what else do you do for work? And how long have you been doing that?
I actually work for the post office, but I do maintenance for the post office.
Okay.
So I go around the Pittsburgh area. We take care of around 400 offices, and we do anything from plumbing to HVAC to concrete work to electrical and everything in between, really. I've been doing that for, I want to say 5 years now, something like that, maybe longer. It's been so long now.
Well, I guess it's always a good thing when you've been at a place so long that it's like it's 4 or 5. I don't know. It's it's in there for
all a blur.
Yeah, it's in there. But so what made you want to get into doing something like that? Have you always been like good with your hands and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, I have. Growing up, always working outside with my dad, doing things, and it's always been a great time doing that. Like, I actually enjoy working with my hands more so. I went and got a degree from CCAC for mechatronics, and it kind of helped me really excel in this job of doing, pneumatical work, electrical work, hydraulics, stuff like that. It's definitely always been something I enjoy. So it's, there's people that say, I hate waking up on Mondays to go to work, but I kind of enjoy it a little bit. So,
well, yeah, I mean, I've said it forever. If you enjoy what you do, you'll never actually work a day in your life.
Yep.
People ask me all the time, like, okay, so you're a comedian. Like, how did you, like, why? I was like, I know I'm working all the time. Like, there's no such thing as a day off for me because I'm either preparing for a show, writing new jokes, working on my merch store, working on my coffee brand, working on this podcast, and I have to keep up with social media trends and everything like that. And like, so there's really no days off ever. And that's one thing people don't really realize too. Like, oh, you work like an hour a day. Like, you must. It's like, yeah, I wish I only worked an hour a day. I work 24 hours a day. So yeah, but I love what I do. So like, that doesn't seem like work to me at all. So yeah, that's great that you could find something like that and find something that that you're passionate about. I mean, I wish I was better with working with my hands. I really do. I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm handy enough that I can fix certain things, but at a certain point it's like, I'm out. We're gonna have to pay somebody to fix this or get a real man in here to fix this because I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. A lot of YouTube watching on my end.
Hey, listen, I'm not gonna lie, I've used it a lot too. So
make me feel a little bit better about that last part. For sure. All right, so I mean, Austin, it's great catching up to you. One more thing though, like now that you've been to Vegas once, any plans on going back? And
I would say yes. We also rented a car and went out to like the Hoover Dam and went out to the mountains and everything like that. I would say probably that was my favorite part of the whole thing. Okay. Is going out, seeing the mountains, going to Grand Canyon, seeing all that. That was probably my favorite part, and I would love to go back just for that. Other than that, it's a little expensive.
I'm sure it is. partly why I've never been there.
We celebrated when we found $15 beers. So.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
yeah.
Here in Ohio, that's a case. Like this,
yeah, right.
you get a case for 15,
right?
Oh, but yeah, I mean, so I was gonna say, other than the casinos, what else is there to do in Vegas? But you kind of hit on that a little bit. The sightseeing and obviously Would you go back for a game to see any one of the sports teams there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, a little inside thing about me is I've been to every Pittsburgh sports venue, but I've only seen the Pirates play.
Okay.
So I've been there. I've been to Heinz Field for a concert. I've been to the PPG Paints for a concert, but never got to see the Steelers or Penguins play yet.
I got to tell you, as somebody who's been to many of Steelers and Penguins games, you got to get the PPG to see a game. There's not a bad seat in the house.
Okay.
Like, you're literally over top of the ice, no matter where you're sitting at. Whoever designed that stadium nailed it. It is a great experience. And my wife and I, huge Pittsburgh sports fans. We both grew up an hour away from Pittsburgh in West Virginia, and she was in Ohio. But still, we love the Pirates, even though they disappoint us every year. It's
every
hard,
year.
It's hard not to root for them. They make it hard. Like, even now that I moved to Central Ohio, like, people see me wearing my Pirates gear out, and they're just like, "So you're actually a Pirates fan?" I was like, "This is how you know I'm a true fan, that I'm wearing it in public." Like, it's so, yeah, but. Yeah, the Steelers game. I haven't been to many Steelers games, but it's definitely wanting to get back to some Steelers games for sure. But you got to see the Pens for sure.
Okay. Okay.
I would put that on the list. You got to make it to a game.
All right. Yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out then.
All right. Well, Austin, we are running down near the end of the episode here, but I do have to get this last segment in here. Because if I don't, the wonderful manager of the podcast, Johnny Fitty Falcone, will kill me. And that is the Fast Fitty 5. 5 random questions from the wonderful manager of the podcast, Johnny Fitty Falcone. And if you've listened to the show before, you know how random these questions are. But for the new listeners out there, these have nothing to do with what we've been talking about for the past 30 minutes. And they're kind of rapid fire, but you can elaborate if you need to, Austin. So if you're ready,
I'm ready.
All right. Question 1. What would be more fun, scuba diving or bungee jumping?
I definitely have to say scuba diving. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, there's no chance. I don't like heights at all. Question number 2. What is the best month for a bonfire?
Oof. Man, I would have to say probably June or July. I'm going to stick with June. I like a nice, late night summer kind of bonfire. A bunch of friends, a couple of brewskis, having fun,
Absolutely. I'm not mad at it. I'm really not. I'm more of a fall fire guy, but I can't go wrong.
Okay.
Question 3. What are more relaxing, Sunday mornings or Sunday nights?
Oh, Sunday mornings, easily.
Yeah.
Easily Sunday mornings.
Yeah, it's really my only quote-unquote day off. So, yes. Number 4, best grocery store to do shopping at is?
I would have to stick with Giant Eagle Market District there. Same thing. But
okay.
Big selection, have one about 15 minutes from my house, so it's convenient.
Convenient, like it. And last but not least, what is the best football movie ever?
Man, that's kind of
yeah.
I'm going to have to go with The Longest Yard because that's always been my favorite.
The original or the Adam Sandler remake?
Yeah. Sandler one.
Okay. Yeah.
I've always been a fan of that movie. If it's on, I can sit down and watch it no matter what. So,
absolutely. Well, that was the Fast Fitty 5. I mean, he took it a little easier on you. I'm going to say, like, there's been some if anybody knows Johnny, they know how random those questions can get.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll say I'm a little happy. He had a strange thing with animals. There was always an animal question in every single one, and it was always fighting an animal. So he took it easy on you, Austin. I'll tell you that for sure. But Austin, like I said, we are running down near the end of the episode. I give every guest this opportunity at the end of the show. I'm going to give you about a minute. If there's anything you want to get out there, whether that's for Fort Cherry or whether it's just a good message, give you about a minute. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, I mean, come down to McDonald, Pennsylvania on a Friday night and see some good high-action football, and look for us to be in the state title game again next year in Hershey. And yeah, everybody, love one another, and I don't know.
All right, you're good, man. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, everyone go and check out Fort Cherry High School and the junior varsity and everything like that. Check them out. I will be following you, Austin, too, as well. I let every guest know this. Anytime anybody is a coach, athlete, or anything for any type of sports program, I do follow them since they've been on the show. It's kind of my way to give back. So Fort Cherry is now on my my long, extensive list of people to follow and to keep tabs on. And I will be rooting for you guys next season in the Whippeal for sure.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Not a problem. But that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. Again, I want to thank my guest, Austin Fitch, for taking time out of his day to come sit here and talk with us a little bit and get to know a little bit more about Vegas and Fort Cherry football as well. As always, if you enjoyed the show, be a friend, tell a friend. If you didn't, tell them anyways. They might like it just because you didn't. That's going to do it for me. And I will see y'all next week. The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by W Energy. Energy drinks made for gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. For gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. Go to the link in the description where you can find the best energy drinks out there. Less caffeine than a cup of coffee. Also, no jitters and no crash afterwards. Use the promo code Mike Bono and get yourself 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my favorite sponsor of the show, and that is Shankit Golf. Golf apparel made for the everyday golfer. We might not go out and shoot a 6 under par. We're probably going to shoot a 6 over par, but this is going to give us the gear that's going to help us rock it on and off of the course. Go to the link in the bio, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get yourself 10% off there as well.